You're listening to the Strategic Foresight for Asia podcast. We break down the geostrategic forces shaping Pakistan and the region, delivering foresight and bringing expert analysis and practitioner insights on the trends and choices defining our future.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. We're back again with another Strategia podcast, Dr. Adil and me, Aiza, and we're going to discuss something which is developing or started developing earlier in the day just a few hours ago. Dr. Adil, it seems that we've turned back the clock and it appears that we've gone all the way back to February. So everyone hold on to your hats because it appears that the roller coaster is on again and the conflict has started afresh. So what we are hearing right now is that initially up until 2 to 3 days ago, there was news, it was being reported, Al Arabiya news reports were being quoted by media in Pakistan, by media in China, by media across the world, that the next round of talks was going to be held either in Islamabad, which was the front runner, or it was going to be held in Switzerland on 11th July between the US and Iran. And it seems quite apparent now after the developments of earlier this morning, in the early hours of the morning, with the exchange of attacks between the US and Iran, this is clearly not, it doesn't appear that it's going to happen. Just to recap for our audience, some of the irritants that were identified when we talked about the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding and what was agreed upon, the Strait of Hormuz was a point of contention. The sanctions on Iran, the lifting of the sanctions, the relaxation or the waivers,
unfreezing of funds.
Unfreezing of funds, they were a point of contention, and the ceasefire in Lebanon were a point of contention.
And the nuclear issues.
And the nuclear issues were a point of contention. So as of this morning, earlier this morning, it appears that the conflict has now restarted, apparently with Iranian attacks on commercial vessels. Is this what has happened, or do you think that the Iranians were provoked into doing this?
This is a kinetic action that we are seeing, and as is being reflected that Iran probably has violated the MoU, but there could be several precursors that may have forced Iran or pushed Iran to take this drastic action. There were concerns by the Iranians as well that the United States is not abiding by its commitment towards the MoU. The Article 1 of the MoU that states that they will cease all hostilities in the region, including Lebanon. That was not happening. Iran was not very happy. Then there was some disagreements on the issue of unfreezing of funds, sanctions relief, and third was about the Strait of Hormuz. We have yet to reach to the most difficult issue of the nuclear one. But today Trump has also announced the MoU is over. So within less than 3 weeks, it's a long time. 60 days were there to negotiate a long-term agreement, but after 20 days, Trump is announcing that the MoU is over. So that's dangerous, something troubling.
Absolutely, and we've discussed this also in previous Strategia podcasts and discussions that we've had, that we've published also, that this 60-day period for this Memorandum of Understanding, it was supposed to be a litmus test of Iran's commitment to the process, of the US commitment to the process, and of course everybody else that's involved. And it sort of seems as if both sides had very little trust in each other at the outset, and it also seems that both sides were just sitting loaded, and it just took a trigger, big or small, it's a matter of perspective, to actually set light to the entire situation. And what we're seeing right now is we have statements coming out from the GCC countries who are starting to say that Iran cannot be trusted to uphold its commitments, and then you have alternative statements obviously coming out from Iran, because from their perspective the terms of the MoU were violated and Iran stands on its right of sovereignty. So what I'm curious about is, where do we see this is going to go next? I mean, there is the reaction or the response of the GCC countries. There's going to be the reaction of the Western countries that were involved in this. We are seeing that this is also coming on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Ankara, and those statements have also been coming out. So where do we think that this is going to go? And again, also importantly, because Pakistan has played such a key role in the entire process, what do we think our response is going to be on this side?
Before coming to our response, I think the question that you asked, where it is likely to go, it appears that we are back to square one from where we started. The distrust between the two countries, that's the main reason. Since the day this MoU was signed by United States, Iran and Pakistan signed as a mediator, as a third party, there were lots of regional actors and the domestic constituencies within Iran and also within United States. They were not happy about this. So probably they were looking for an excuse that could trigger or resume the hostilities, and they can probably come back to the battlefield. Whether it is going to lead to a major conflict, outbreak of war, we don't know as yet, but the trajectory is negative. The important thing is why it has happened. The Iranian perspective is that they are apprehensive about the ship or the vessels that are crossing Strait of Hormuz. They are not going after seeking clearances from Iran, because from their perspective they think that some of the ships that are being escorted by United States, they might be carrying military equipment for these GCC countries or for the US military bases. Essentially, they want to assert their dominance over Strait of Hormuz to make a point that nothing will cross without Iranian permission. United States, on the other end, doesn't want this, so they are pushing. And that's one of the contentious issue between the two countries that may have led to the recent outbreak of the hostilities. Since yesterday, there have been significant attacks by United States on Iranian military facilities and by Iranians on the US military bases in Kuwait and Bahrain. So it seems we are back to square one. And this brings out the important question, what Pakistan can do. Pakistan was the mediator, we were facilitator in the beginning. So as mediator, we have stakes, but we do not have any influence or authority to force these two countries to come back on the negotiating table. But we can play a certain role in diffusing these hostilities and encourage both sides to at least start discussing what are the major irritants, and probably other countries would also be interested, like Qatar. So we have yet to see how it unfolds.
And just a quick segue, because so international public opinion up until from the start of February onwards, up until the Islamabad MoU was signed, and then after that as well, I think international global public opinion was very strongly on Iran's side, because there was this consensus among a lot of countries, especially among the global south, but not exclusively limited to the global south, that Iran had been the victim of aggression, illegal aggression, and that Iran had responded, stood up as a non-nuclear weapon state to a nuclear weapon state, and the global public outcry of support for Iran has actually been quite strong. And I think it's a point of curiosity, do we think that with this new fresh round of aggression, if it continues, if it ends up going further than let's say just a few hours or a few days, then are we going to see the same expression of support, or are we going to see global public opinion slowly start to turn against this? Because I bring this up because naturally anything like this, any conflict like this, it's going to take us back to the place where if the strait is blocked, oil prices are going to go up once again, and then the whole entire region and beyond that also, everything goes back into chaos, something which everybody was trying to come out against. So is global public opinion going to stay with Iran in this case as well? Because it's a matter of perceptions.
Yeah, you have brought important point, because this has happened at a critical moment once the NATO summit is ongoing in Turkey, and where most of the NATO countries, especially the European countries, they want to rebuild their ties with the United States. And President Trump may use this opportunity to garner their support against Iran. So that would be important, because the timings are very important at this moment. Already the NATO Secretary General and some of the European countries, they are coming in support of United States, and they are accusing Iran that they have violated. And the Western media outlets, mostly Western media outlets, they are also accusing Iran that Iran has violated by targeting some of the commercial vessels. The other perspective, we don't know as yet who violated first, because Iran had been consistently saying that no commercial vessels or any vessel should pass without coordination with them. But United States didn't agree to their position. They were pushing, and that could be one of the reasons. Now, domestically, yes, this is a moment where Iranian leadership, especially the IRGC, may have very strong support because of the ongoing funeral procession within Iran. And they might have felt emboldened that they can become more assertive and deal with the United States with a position of strength, because the public is with them apparently at this moment. The way they have used this occasion to build that religious nationalism within Iran and to their advantage. So they might have overestimated their strength, and they might have resorted to this action. But on the once we see from the Western perspective, definitely there would be because again it is going to hit the economies of several countries. The oil prices are going to go high. People may not have, outside Iran, may not have very positive view of this episode.
And do we think that this is going to, if the conflict continues to escalate on the same trajectory, do we think that it's going to drag in extra-regional actors, China perhaps or Russia? Do we think they're going to get involved?
I don't think so. Russia is already embroiled in its conflict with Ukraine. China seems content in what is happening because it is weakening US position in the region, larger Middle Eastern region, West Asia. And they were very reluctant in getting embroiled in this conflict earlier. And again, it would be very, probably they would prefer to stay out. But how long, we don't know, because all the countries are going to be affected if the conflict escalates again and the oil prices go up, economies start to shatter, so that is going to affect every country.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that even though global public opinion now is starting to move towards the side of or expecting greater intervention from countries like China, but China's policy of non-intervention and non-military intervention remains very much a continuous factor. So this is an evolving situation, and I think we're going to come back probably in another day or two, maybe earlier, to discuss how it is evolving and to see what new developments come to the fore. Continue to engage with us on our social media platforms. Send us your questions also. We'd be happy to take up what you're interested in discussing with us. Thank you, Dr. Adil.
Thank you.